Welcome to the Empowered Women channel with your host, Coach Depo Lipidi. Coach Depo, a certified leadership coach and author, brings you the Word of God today. It is our hope that today's message will encourage and empower you to do great things in your life. Be blessed as you listen.
Welcome to today's webinar, Managing Emotions, Law and People During Family Court Mediations. As you all know, NOMA is all about no more abuse. By the grace and by the mercy of God, our goal, our hope, our prayer is that in our midst we can stop incidences of abuse. We've had a lot of them. We have had women die, men die, and our hope and our prayer is that we can put an end to it, even in our own generation. And to speak to us today is our Barrister, Eigbe. I want to welcome you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Let me tell you a little bit about Eigbe. Some of you know him. Some of you have listened to him before. Some of you have not. But for those who have not met him or seen him, because we haven't met him, Eigbe is a counseling psychologist. He's a family lawyer. He's a pastor. He's a marriage and family life counselor, and he has more than 22 years of counseling experience. Okay. He holds a master's degree in counseling psychology with a focus on marriage and family life counseling. He got his master's from the University of Ibadan. He's licensed by the Counseling Practitioners Council of Nigeria as a certified counselor, and he's a member of the Counseling Association of Nigeria, CASON. He serves as the lead counselor and therapist at the All Rights Passion Counselors and Therapists. That's what he does, where he provides counseling, therapy, coaching, and family life interventions. He's also a family and divorce lawyer with 15 years of post-call experience. So when we say post-call experience, that is after you're called to the bar in Nigeria. It's called post-call. So since being called, he's been practicing for 15 years, and he's the principal solicitor of the family lawyers. He has extensive experience in family law, mediation, child custody, divorce, domestic relations, and related legal matters. So he's a man of timber and caliber. He has a wealth of experience in the things we want to talk about today. He serves as an associate pastor. So he's not just a lawyer. He's a believer. He's a Christian. And he understands the biblical principles of no abuse. He understands that, yes, God may say, but Bible may say that God hates divorce, but he also understands that the Bible does not approve of abuse. Otherwise, he would not have removed Israel from Egypt. So he's a pastor with Global Harvest Church, Victor Adeyemi Ministries. He's married to his beautiful wife, Vivian Allright, who's also a marriage enrichment counselor and early childhood educator. And together, they're very passionate about raising a godly family for Christ. And they want to be, they serve already, but they want to be role models to young people across the globe. So not just in Nigeria, but to young couples all over the world. Yes, some of us may have missed it in marriage, but for those who have not, maybe those who are aspiring to get married, they want to serve as role models. And so once again, welcome, Barrister Eigbe.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you for having me.
You are most welcome. Most welcome. It's an honor to have you back, and we're glad that you're able to come back to speak to us on a day like this. Some of us are out, some are still in, some are still working towards leaving, and some are already in the midst of the divorce. Some are divorced already. So we have a group of different kind of people here. We're a mixed group, but we thank God for all our lives. And we know that with everything you share with us today, we will be blessed and our lives will be transformed. So before I turn it over to you to talk to us, I just have a few questions for you, maybe one or two. Let me start by asking, from a legal standpoint, what should individuals expect during a family court mediation session?
One of the first things you should expect, right, and I usually say it a lot, is emotional outburst.
Mm,
That's
yeah.
just the first thing you expect. You should expect people displaying anger, resentment, people displaying hurt, expect people trying to fight for their rights. People actually come to mediation sessions and they're expecting you to, judge the other party or vindicate them. And that is usually what people generally want to see in a
Mm,
mediation center. But what I tell people to do when going to a mediation center is that go as a business person, as a negotiator. Don't go as that hot husband or you go there as that hot wife. Don't go as that, mm, you say, I'm the woman, I carried this baby for 9 months. I was abandoned, I was beaten. No, don't go there like that. Go there with the mindset that I'm a business person and I want to go and make a business decision. Now,
mm,
if you go with that mindset, it puts you in a position where you're able to just say things. There's this thing that I say is that there's something on the table right now for us to discuss. It means that we are talking about the future.
right.
But you see people, they pick up that item. So let me pick up this light, for example. They keep pick up that item. And instead of you looking at that item into the future, are like, what are we talking about? How are we looking at this into the future? They look at that item into the past. They remember all their hurts, they remember everything that happened, they remember all the experiences, and they don't want to deal. They don't want to discuss. And at that time, you're just like, what are we doing here? Right? So the common thing that we'll see always during family mediation is outbursts of emotions. People coming to discuss through their emotions instead of negotiating their future.
Wow. That is interesting because my next question to you would have been, what emotional patterns do you see? But you just talked
Mhm.
about outbursts. Now, so I'm on two sides. I'm a lawyer, right?
Yes,
I'm
yes, ma'am.
also a survivor. So I see it
Yes,
from two perspectives. As a
yes, ma'am.
survivor, when I go to court, I know my pain. I know what I went through. My lawyer doesn't.
True.
The judge doesn't. And so this man is standing there, and I've had that situation many times. This person is standing there lying to my face. My
Mhm.
first reaction is anger. And I want to express myself. I want to say this guy is lying. And I've
Okay.
had this happen even in not necessarily in court mediations, but in mediations that happened in my home. This person is lying to my face. How do I
Mhm.
defend myself? I want to speak up. I want to respond. I want to say something. I want to say he's lying. And that's where the anger is coming from. So I get that. And I know that as a lawyer who's been practicing for 22 years, that's a long time, you understand this. How can someone prepare emotionally before entering mediation? Because I'm going to be honest with you, so I'm older now, I'm able to control my emotions, but the younger ones need help in this area. How can someone prepare emotionally before entering mediation, especially for someone who's been through abuse, physical, emotional, financial, sexual, whatever the kind of abuse it was?
I'll share right now what I usually do for my clients.
Okay.
All right. So when people come to us for divorce and or for custody matters, whether it's custody matters or it is divorce, one of the first things we do, maybe it's because I'm also a counseling psychologist, is to prepare them emotionally for the journey. Is to prepare them emotionally, psychologically for the journey. To like see this thing that you want to do, you may think that the truth about it is that you may think that you are prepared for divorce until they tell you guys to go and start negotiating. And maybe negotiation phase, and they tell people to come and tell your story. And you're hearing somebody tell all the lies in this world. So what I do in helping my clients, and I think that will also help anyone who is on this particular call, is before you ever get to that negotiation table, right? Whether you have a lawyer or you don't have a lawyer, the first thing I want you to do is I want you to know what are your goals. That's the first thing I want to know. What are your goals? So you want to know what your goals are. I turned down a particular divorce case. These people wanted me to do their divorce case. And when it came to what was the goal, they could not actually tell me what the goal was. I mean, the couple have been separated for more than 15 years.
15.
Yes, they have been separated for more than 15 years. As of this time, when they were wanting me to do this divorce, they may not have even seen each other in the last 5 years. You know, they may have been seeing each other before, like once in 3 years, once in 5 years. Like so, in these 15 years, they may not have seen themselves up to 5 times in these 15 years. And the last time they saw themselves maybe more than 5 years ago, and they're before me for divorce. And say, I want to do my divorce. And I'm like, okay, go. What do you actually want? I want a divorce. Then the person is wanting me to, tell a lot of stories and a lot of stories that the person is wanting me to tell has to do with a lot of adultery that will also that will also require me right now to join the adulterous partner to the suit. Right? Because in divorce, if your grounds is adultery,
You have to join.
generally it implies that
Yes.
you are joining the person your spouse was adulterous with, right? And I'm like, this is 15 years ago we are talking about. Right? You want me to actually go to court to go and be dragging and pulling for something that happened 15 years ago? And I kept on asking myself, what is the goal? What is the goal? Is the goal divorce, or the goal is that you want to sue the person that your partner was adulterous with years ago, or the goal is that you want to sue on this adultery? So I usually ask people, narrow it down to know what your goal is. The next thing that you want to do is, I want you to be aware of your fears. Be aware of the fears you have and communicate them. Many times, people may know the fears that they have, but they don't even communicate it to their lawyers. Their lawyers do not truly understand what their worries, what their concerns are. They don't communicate it clearly in any way. So the thing I usually say is that I want to be aware of your fears and clearly communicate it. Like, tell me, what are the things you are afraid of? What are the concerns you're having right now? What happens to be those things that you are like, hey, I'm afraid this may happen. I'm afraid that will happen, and the rest. Then another thing I want you to do again for me is to tell me, what are your non-negotiables? Your non-negotiables. All right. If you're going to divorce or custody matters, custody battles, you should know that you will be required to give up some things. You actually will not, you most likely may not get 100% of everything you want.
Correct.
Unless, of course, the only way I get 100% of what my client wants is if the other person goes up ballistic emotional. If that person goes up ballistic emotional, then they make the judge start looking at them like, please, this is not a pity party and the rest, right? And logic then begins to outweigh the emotion. But if the other party, I usually tell people, if the other party also has a good lawyer, you are most likely not going to get 100% of what you're asking for. If the other party has a good lawyer, you are most likely not going to get 100%. So tell me, what are your non-negotiables? When you tell me your non-negotiables, and you tell whether it is I or any lawyer, or rather, let me say, any family lawyer, right, who is specialized in family law, you tell them these are the 10 things that I want, or the 5 things that I want, or even the 50 things that I want. The next question we ask you is, what are the non-negotiable parts of this? You tell us your non-negotiable parts, we hold them. And guess what? We'll make the other things that are negotiable to you, we'll make them so loud, as if, as if those are the things that, if you don't give us these things, hell will break it down, this and that. Then by the time you start negotiating, we'll not tell you, okay, okay, so that peace can reign, and so that we can move forward. We'd like to just give it up. We'll give it up. We'll give up those things that are not core to us. and hold on to the things that are called to us. So this person feels that, oh, we have traded enough. We have traded. So we want to know what are your non-negotiables, and ask yourself at the end of the day, how do you want to feel? What's the feeling you want to have at the end of the day when all of this is done? Because the divorce actually starts after the judgment is given. I've had all my clients very strong until the day when the judgment is being read, and they just break down.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because the
And
finality suddenly dawns on you
I'm telling you,
that, oh my goodness, I mean, it's like you're in a land matter and you go to, I had a lot of land matters back then, and you go to court and finally judgment is given in your favor.
yes,
The joy that fills your heart and the sorrow that fills the heart of the other person is indescribable, because all
I'm
of a
telling you,
sudden you realize that we have come to a point of no return.
yeah,
Finally, the finality.
everything just,
And you touched on something that I want to go back to, the emotion piece.
yeah,
You said if the other person goes off ballistic on their emotions, then it gives us leverage almost. Which
yeah,
is why if I am the one going for the divorce, I need to master my emotions. I need to be able to control my emotions and let them be the ones that roll off the cliff, because then that is going to be in my favor.
that's
So
right.
I hope that helps somebody, because, it's very hard. I'm not going to lie. It's very hard to keep your cool when you stand in the face of someone who's dealt badly with you and they are telling lies. It's very hard, but it's doable. It's
Sure.
doable. It's doable. I remember somebody saying to me that she didn't have the capacity to go file the divorce for many years because she was afraid to do so, but eventually she did. She gave herself time to build capacity to be stronger before going to file the divorce and to get a handle on her emotions. But I'm not going to lie, as women, holding on to our emotions and controlling our emotions may be very hard, but from what you've told us so far, it's doable. My final question before I turn it over to you is, how do you manage people? In-laws, friends, siblings. I have a lady that I'm working with. She's very dear to me. She didn't realize that her siblings were working with her abuser. She did not know. So when she finally found out, it was very hard, very, very hard for her. In that kind of situation, it's hard to manage your emotions. She was just crying all over the place. She was broken, really broken. In the face of mediation, how do you manage people like that? In-laws. Somebody recently, they'd been separated for 3 years, finally filed divorce, and her in-laws are coming to beg her. The husband is coming back to beg. I said, where were they for the 3 years that you were gone? So how do you manage such people? They almost drive you crazy if you're not careful. How do you manage them?
Thank you so much. There's a place of in-laws and friends in our lives, and these people happen to be our community. They happen to be our support system. Your your family, I'm not even talking about even in-laws, your family also happen to be your history. Like, for example, in our divorce form, when people come for divorce, we usually have, there are these two questions in our intake form. One of the questions says, if you choose to have the divorce right now, will your family support you? If you choose to have the divorce right now, will your in-laws support you? So we have these two questions to know, like, okay, what is it that we are going to be dealing with? Because sometimes it may not be your in-laws, it will be your own family who don't believe in divorce. Your own family who, number one, your family may not believe in divorce. Number two, your family may believe in divorce only when it has to do with domestic abuse.
Right.
They don't believe in divorce if it's an emotional abuse matter, if it's a financial abuse matter. They don't believe in divorce if it is an adultery matter. Okay, as long as he's not beating you
He's
now,
not beating you, yeah.
right? She's not sleeping around now, right? As long as those two things are not there, you may find it even difficult, because one of the biggest challenges many people have is even convincing their own family that they want to divorce. Some people have it very interesting. A person is a terrible spouse, but a great in-law.
We have many
Many
of
of
them.
them, they
Yeah.
are great in-laws, but they are terrible spouses.
But do you know why? I'm sorry to cut you short. Do you know why? The world is their stage. They're playing to the gallery. They're acting, acting for the world to see. So they're doing good to everybody else but you. And that's why behind closed doors is where they do all this harm. Sorry to cut you short. I just wanted to
Yes,
throw that in.
yes, yes. And again, you also have your in-laws who who believe that you are the best person for their son. They know that their son is
It's bad.
terrible,
Mm-hmm.
or they know that their daughter that this our sister when you marry, so that God will help you,
Mm-hmm.
right? They know their family member, and now they are like, if you leave, if you walk away, should you leave or should you walk away? Who is going to manage this person for them? As far as we are concerned, we are managing this person for them. Like we are helping them deal with this person. We are helping them. And now you have to walk away like you were their savior. Like where are you going? Right? So you
Yeah.
understand this thing. And what do you want to do in that situation is first things first, I tell people to do something simple. Get a journal. Okay, one of the therapeutic techniques I use in helping people is journaling. So I say, get a journal. Before you even do this divorce, write it down for me in your journal all the reasons why you want to divorce. So that tomorrow, if you start second guessing, so that tomorrow, if somebody tries speaking to you and trying to convince you, and in that emotional euphoria, in that excitement, you are beginning to forget. Or maybe somebody comes and the person is only painting to you a picture of this person's sweet and nice side. You have that journal to go back to say, hey, why did I say I wanted to divorce this person in this first place? This person does ABC. Has it changed? No. This person does XYZ. Has it changed? No. This person does OMN. Has it changed? No. Right? You want to create that reasons clear. Don't have it in your mind. Have it on paper because the time will come, your mind will forget. I can tell you, you forget.
You're so right.
You
And I
forget.
just did a video on breaking the trauma bond. And one of the
Mm,
things I said is journaling. Write down everything he did to you that made you leave, that made you turn your back, so that the day you miss him, in quote, or
mm,
you think of him, or you are tempted to go back, you go back to those notes and say, on this day, this day, this day. Like me, for example, I was left on the road in the middle of winter.
mm,
how do I
mm.
how do I forget that? And some family member is coming to tell me to go back. Some pastors are telling me that I'm the problem. I need to go back. I'm like, heck no. I am not going back because I have it written down.
Truth.
It's
Truth.
all written down. I'm actually about to publish it in my book, my story, the story of my journey. How
Awesome.
do I forget that? Because I have it written down. So it's important if we're going to deal with this family members, in-laws, outlaws, whatever they are, we need to have a record of those things. And I tell people this, when you document, you are doing yourself a favor. You're not doing it for anybody else but you, because then you
True.
have something to fall back on and say, okay, this is what happened on this day. I didn't know about documenting for a long time, but when I did, I have recordings of when he was yelling at me and abusing me. And one time I just sent it to some bunch of pastors. I said, listen, if I'm lying, this is proof. So you can't listen to that and tell me to go back. So journaling, to your point, is key. It's very important. If you are not journaling yet, it's not too late to start. You can start journaling any day, anytime. Thank you so much, Barrister, all right, for answering those my questions. We still have some questions. We'll have a Q&A at the end. But I'm going to turn it over to you now to share with us what's on your heart. And then maybe we'll take a 5-minute break and come back and do the Q&A. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much. Now, we're talking about how to manage emotions, law, and people during family court mediations. And some of those things are things that we have already answered that Mama and I, Coach D, and we have answered already. In this session, very short session, pay attention, don't get distracted because it's going to be very short. I'm going to be talking about four things. The four things, number one is managing your emotions. Number two will be managing the law. Number three will be what Mama and I discussed about, which is managing people. And also, I want you to remember 5 things during mediation. If you have to write these things down so that anytime you are going to mediation, you remember them. Okay, number one, managing your emotions, right? The first thing I want you to always realize when you manage your emotions is that it is mediation, it is not therapy. I don't know how more I can break it down. In therapy, you are going there to say you're trying to find healing for your heart. You are trying to uh, get acknowledgement for someone to acknowledge the realities of what you face. You wanted someone to say, "Oh, I truly hurt you." So you want the validation, the apologies. You want justice for emotional wounds. At the mediation table, right? That never happens. It's not something you should expect, right? Because it is a business table. So you're actually coming to negotiate. And what you're trying to do is not to discuss the past, but you already know the past. You already know the things that you have suffered. You already know where you're vulnerable. And what you are coming to do is you're coming to negotiate the future. So you're not coming to be asking, does he truly understand my pain? Does he get my story? I'm trying to remind him of the things he truly did to me. I wanted to actually see those things and get them. No. In mediation, you are coming to say, see, I want to come and discuss my future. If you're coming to discuss your future, if discussing your future is what you actually faced with, then the next thing becomes very, very important. You want to separate your heart from your decisions. You want to separate how you feel about everything. So you are going to ensure you don't refuse things just because you're hot. When you're hot and you're coming to the negotiation table with that hot, right? It is mediation table, but let me call it negotiation table so it's easy for us to understand it, right? You you don't want to make expensive decisions because people are start making expensive decisions, and because of this expensive decision, they are refusing reasonable custody arrangements. They now start rejecting fair settlement, prolonging litigation. I've seen people who just want us to stay in court and keep on doing matters. They are just wanting to weaponize the children, right? That's not something you should do. You want to separate your hurt from decisions. Like I've been hurt, and it's not at the mediation table I'm going to be healed. Another thing I want you to do in that situation is to see how you can focus on the outcomes, everything that Mama D, Coach D, and I discussed about. What are the outcomes that you want? What are the things that you are learning? And you want to learn emotional self-regulation. Unfortunately, we as lawyers may not be able to teach you that. And that's why you have people like Coach D, right? You have Coach D to help you do all of that, help you master your emotions, help you become more emotionally intelligent. Your lawyer may not know how to teach you to be that. Your lawyer most likely is still dealing with his own emotional issues and learning to manage his own emotions. So he may not be able to teach you that. And thank God we have platforms like Noma that will help you learn how to do that. And when you get to the discussion table, don't expect to conclude on the first day, right? You don't want to conclude on the first day. You want to take notes to hear what is this person actually asking for regarding the future, not just regarding the present. You are looking at the future. You are not just looking at the present. You are asking yourself, what am I doing regarding the future? How am I going to be able to handle the future and handle it well? You want to protect your mental health. And one of the ways of protecting your mental health is to have good communities like Normal, like having good communities. And that's why, to a large extent, many women fare better after divorce and custody battles than men. Right? One time they invited me to the Association of Divorced Men to be one of their facilitators at a particular time. I was super excited to know you mean there's an association for divorced men, a community that is set up to meet the emotional needs of divorced men, right? I was super excited because it's so common out there for women, and I wanted to take advantage of it. If you are not a member of Norma and Young, this webinar, please find a way to see how you can join. And if you're able to do this, you would have been able to protect your mental health. Because after the divorce, at the finality, that's when you realize that, man, there's something more than what I bargained for. Then we'll go to the next thing, which happens to be managing the law. Managing the law. And the first thing I want to say regarding managing the law is that you want to know your legal rights. Please avoid ChatGPT. No, the reason why I'm saying that, the reason why I'm saying you should avoid ChatGPT. For those who are Christians, the Bible says, out of the abundance of a man's heart, right, the mouth speaks. Now, it is out of the abundance of your knowledge, your understanding, that you prompt AI. So, in the sense that I am a family lawyer, you are a layman. With all due respect to you, you are very lay. Two of us may have the same legal question or legal issue, and ChatGPT will give us two different results because I'm going to be prompting it based on my knowledge, based on my experience, and based on what I understand this case to be. You, on the other hand, you're just going to prompt it based on the issue you have. My husband says so and so, so and so, so and so. What do you think I should say? And the rest. So when it comes to know your legal rights, I will advise that you avoid ChatGPT. Best, you want to talk to people like Coach D, who is also a lawyer. You want to consult a lawyer, or you want to find blog posts by lawyers in this industry and consume them. Then again, you want to also be very careful because one error many people make is that they go and consume a lot of Hollywood legal movies and they want to apply it to Nigerian law. Even American lawyers do not agree with everything that is shared in their movies. Now, imagine their lawyers and people agree with what is shared in their movies, and you're packing the principles and rules from their movies and you're trying to apply it in Nigeria, right? If I'm complaining about Hollywood movies, imagine what I would say about Nollywood and African Magic Europa. So then two, you want to distinguish between legal rights and personal desires. There are personal desires that you have. Oh man, they are my clients. I've had amazing clients who had these personal desires, and the law did not favor them. But they had these personal desires. They were their wishes. But if we match their desires and their wishes against the law would prevail. So do you know what we did? We came and we played what we call the emotional card, right? It's the emotional card, but you play it with wisdom. So how do we play it? We play it, let's assume my client is a woman, and now I need to play an emotional card against a man. And I'm playing an emotional card against a man that I know by law I don't have. If I go by law, I don't have it. We'll start coming and like, we want this. So I want you to remember that there was once upon a time that you loved this woman. And there was once upon a time, we recall her even telling us that how one time you had to travel, your vehicle broke down, you slept on the road to visit her for a particular surprise birthday or the rest. We remember how the traditional marriage was very stressful, but in order to honor her and the rest, you had to take loan that was so difficult for you to ensure that you pay the bride price list. So we play that emotional card. Now you see the emotional card we are playing. We are not playing emotional card or bagba. No, we will not recall that. Like, right now, she knows that this is the position of things. But if there was ever a time you cared about her, would you do this for her? So we distinguish between legal rights and personal desires. And when we bring the personal desires, we don't come and we start shouting and the rest. We play the emotional card. We bring in the psychological part to it and try to see, we know you hate us right now. We know you dislike us right now. But once upon a time, of your own volition, you once loved us. Right? Then you also understand that no matter your personal interest, and this is what we usually tell people, that when it comes to custody matters, for example, children's interest come first. When it comes to welfare and custody, the interest of children come first. And this is it. You must understand that when it comes to the issue of children, it is actually the man and the woman against the judge. The position usually is that the judge takes the position of the child. And the two of you are now fighting. And he's actually looking at the two of you and asking himself, this is my child, who should I give the child to? And that's why it shocks some people that sometimes the judges invite grandparents or invite uncles and aunts, and they may decide not to even give the parents the child and want to give it to the grandparents. We have had decisions of the court where it is the grandparents that got custody. In fact, I remember one case, a grandparent showed that she was a better parent to the child than her own daughter. And everybody agreed that no, your daughter cannot parent this child. We cannot leave this child with your daughter. We better leave this child with you, grandma. Right? Then you want to understand compromise, that compromise is not weakness. I say it again. If you go to family court with 10 things and you have to give up 3 or you have to give up 5, it is not because you are weak. It is not because of anything. It's because you're looking at the future. In fact, there are 2 cases I did that just came to mind right now. And while we were negotiating, I kept on telling my clients behind closed door, anytime we go back to the office before we go back to the negotiation table, I always tell my clients, I am not negotiating for today. In 15 years' time, I want a situation whereby whatsoever we negotiate today, we still put you in the best position. We were compromising, and this person is thinking that we are losing. No, we are not losing. We are actually playing our legal game to ensure that my client, in 7 years' time, my client is going back to court. We already have that game plan. That in 7 years' time, my client was going back to court. In 10 years' time, my client was going back to court. And now, so compromise for us is not weakness. They may think that is weakness. And I want you to realize that if your lawyer suggests compromise to you, don't see it as weakness. Ask your lawyer, why are you doing it? And how does it affect me in the long term? Because this is an interesting thing. Once children are concerned, the matter never ends with judgment. The matter ends with, in Nigeria family law, using Nigeria family law, right? The matter actually ends when that child becomes 21 years old. So if right now people are fighting over children that are 5 years old and 3 years old, you tell me I start laughing. I'm like, do you know how many years you still have ahead? This issue of custody and welfare is most likely not going to end until this child that is 3 years old right now is going to be 21 years old. And when it comes to family law, when it comes to children and it comes to custody and welfare, the decision of the court is never final. That's one thing you should understand. I mean, the court can give you custody today, and your husband will go to court 6 months after, and the court will remove custody from you and give it to your husband. Decision is never final. So you don't just say, I want to win now. You must play your game to continuously win, right? And then you want to listen to professional advice. Forget what people are saying on TikTok, what people are saying on all those Facebook groups. If they are not experts, if they are not professional, because sometimes I see some people argue some certain things, and when they are saying some of those things, do you know what I usually tell them at the end of it? I say, at the end of the day, all these gist that you have said, all these things that you have said, you are going to package it and give it to a lawyer to present it in court. Is that not so? They say yes. I say, so you better follow what your lawyer is saying. Because no matter all those, hey, it's true. I never saw it like this. I never saw it like that. Family and friends, listen to professional advice. Professional advice means that right now, professional advice from your lawyers, professional advice from your therapists, and professional advice, even financial professional advice, right? Sometimes we send our clients to go and speak with financial experts to help them say, how will this thing favor them and the rest. So when it comes to managing people, which is the 3rd thing out of the 5 things that I want to share with you, you must understand personality, right? Understand your own personality, of course. If you are not a member of Norma, you're not part of the Norma community, please go and join me, because there are many things here I cannot explain like that. Eh? Today I'm here as a lawyer, not as a counseling psychologist, although my counseling psychologist is entry. So I want to go back to Mama, consult with Mama, take consultation fee, let her advise you. Let her advise you properly, right? So that you understand personalities. You understand, because some of you, the only thing people do is to understand your spouse's personality. But when it comes to family law, you also need to understand the other lawyer's personality and your lawyer's personality, right? Then don't let family members run your case. That was the last question Mama asked me. Don't allow them run your case. Don't know why you want to divorce. Why? Not because somebody told you. It's the same thing I keep on saying, that I don't tell people to divorce. because it is their threshold that matters. I know somebody right now who wants to divorce, and she's wanting to divorce right now. This is about 15 years of her marriage that she wants to divorce. And meanwhile, about 12 years ago, I already knew that she ought to be divorced. About 12 years ago, I already knew that this, my friend, ought to be divorced. But it is this year she's now coming to say, I think I want a divorce. Right? And the reason why you should do that is that if it is not coming from within you, if it is not your personal decision, you will suffer. You will suffer the consequences because there are consequences to our actions, right? If you stay in a marriage, there are consequences. If you leave the marriage, yes, there are also consequences, right? If it does not come from you and it is family people that are telling you do this, do that, do this, do that, you are going to dream anything. Then number three, avoid character assassinations. See, some people just want to. That was the case I declined that I was telling you about Mama. That I declined the case because you guys have been separated for more than 15 years. And right now, you're wanting me to go to court to go and be discussing what happened in the marriage 15 years ago or how I cheated with somebody. And now I should now add that person to the case. And maybe that person that I cheated with has married and has her own family and is moving on. Maybe she was single 15 years ago and right now she has a 14-year-old child in another marriage. You're wanting me to come and sue her for an affair she has with your husband 15 years behind. Like, what are you trying to achieve? So you want to learn how to avoid character assassination and face your case. You want to learn strategic communication, family and friends. Let's be sincere with each other. Some of them don't know how to talk. You know, lawyers, we feel like crying sometimes when our clients are in the witness box. And we're like, just tell us what is wrong and stop doing the other thing. Give me story that is a fact. Give me something. And you see, that communication that they taught us as comprehension, summary, letter writing. When we were in primary school, that you did not learn well. You can see now, today as an adult, it's a problem to you. It's a problem to you. That thing that they taught you in primary school, and you're like, whose school help? It's a problem to you right now because you are not learning how to communicate. Now, if your therapist or your lawyer, especially right now, your lawyer, tells you what to say or how to say the thing, in the name of God, follow it. Because when they told you that thing, they knew what the response would be, and they have already planned for what the response would be. That's why I said less strategic. It is strategic. It's not that I am just saying, it's not like I'm just saying, will you be around tomorrow? It's that when I say, will you be around tomorrow, I already know the answer you. And I already know what I want to respond to it. And I already know what I want to use your answer for. Then, of course, maintain dignity. You want to maintain your own dignity throughout the whole process. You shouldn't. That's why I don't do divorce for people who are very loud on social media. I don't do it. I don't do it. You want to go and you're not behaving like a mad woman. Yeah, like me too. I can craze, so I can do this and that. Sorry, some of us don't work for people like that. You will find your type, right? But maintain your dignity so that you have honor. Let it be that tomorrow, if you want to remarry or your child wants to get married, you know, this is the for those of us who are Christians, the prophecy, the vision to Jeremiah was that in the end time, the prophecy was that in the end time, knowledge shall fill the earth as water covers the sea, right? And we have a lot of digital footprints. Ask yourself the question: if you want to remarry tomorrow, and they go back and start looking at your social media footprints of how you behave when you divorce your ex, will any person want their friend or family member to marry you? If somebody wants to marry your child tomorrow and they go and check the footprint of this boy's mother or this girl's father several years ago and they see your behavior, so maintain dignity, right? 5 things to remember during mediation. Number one, stay calm. I know, say you get pepper. I know, say you get pepper. I know. You go tell me, I go lie for you. I know, say you get pepper, but you want to learn how to stay calm. So during mediation, all those behavior of rolling your eyes, hissing, always like, all those market woman behavior. Leave it in your house before coming to the mediation desk. Right? Stay calm. Have composure. Now you know your right. Because the reason why you have to know your right many times is that sometimes a lawyer may be saying something and you think that your lawyer is not, no, what my lawyer is saying is actually not proper, right? So you want to know your right. Then you want to focus on the future. It is not you're going to divorce right now. Let me do and get out of this marriage. Let me do and get the custody of this child and the rest. Family and friends, this child is 5 years old, and the law is going to cover this child when this child is 18 and 21. No. So you want to look at the future. Then you want to ensure the best interest of your child, which is protecting the child. I mean, I've seen some of my clients, and I'll tell them that you know that this child staying with you is not the best. You know that if you really put yourself in the position of this child, you know that. I remember one case like that. The man got angry and he went to pick another lawyer. And when he picked another lawyer, when he got to court, they now needed the welfare officer to give evidence in the case. And the welfare officer said, I know all rights to be the one handling this case. For this case to have been taken away from all rights' hands, it means that this person is being nasty. Do you know how case is that there's already bias against you? It's like, no, when all right handles this case, he will always see what was the interest of the child. If you took this case out of all right's hand, it is most likely because, so the welfare office contacted me and like, what happened that this person changed lawyer? And I said, the person wants ABC. And I said, I cannot do it. And they said, in fact, they're just like, we get you. We never agree to anything like that. Because I said, I was telling you, I said, you are a man, you are the father of this child. And what was it that he was trying to do? He had custody of the children already. But what he was trying to do was to cut off communication. The children should not have communication with their mother at all. I said, God forbid, I cannot do that. It cannot be said that I went to court and I cut off a mother from having communication with her children. Right? And lastly, is to seek peace without surrendering justice. Right? So you want to seek peace, that we should reach peace, but that does not mean that you should not suffer for some sins that you should actually do. And with this, I want to say thank you so much for giving me your ear and your screen time. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Barrister. All right. I don't even know what to say. Thank you. That was very, very, very thorough. And we appreciate everything you've shared with us. Peace does not mean surrendering justice. Yes, we want justice, but we must also maintain the peace. Thank you. Thank you.
So glad you joined us today. Please like, share, and subscribe. God bless you.